Good morning, YouTube fam. Marla here. Hope everyone's having a wonderful and blessed day. I know I am. Remember, I said in the last couple of videos that I would come on here and make a video and do my best to impart my knowledge on what I know about Medicare and Medicare Advantage plans. Today's that day. And y'all forgive me because I am bad about getting distracted and seeing something or losing my train of thought and, go squirrel, so bear with me. In my infinite knowledge and wisdom, if you can afford it, the best way to go with straight Medicare A and B is a supplemental policy. Reason being, there's no authorizations required for anything. You can go and to any doctor, any hospital, go and have any procedure done anywhere that takes Medicare and takes your supplemental plan. There still is a Plan F. I've been out of the industry now for like almost 4 years. And just as I was leaving the industry, that Plan F was being phased out, and it still is. If you became eligible for Medicare on January 1st, 2020 and after, you can no longer buy the Plan F. But if you were eligible before that date, you are still able to buy Plan F. And it 100% covers your Medicare Part B deductible. Whatever Medicare, your red, white, and blue card does not pay, the Plan F picks up and covers 100%. Now, they have a Plan G out there that is comparable. The only difference is it doesn't, but it's the same thing except for the deductible part. What Medicare does not cover, your red, white, and blue card, the Plan G on a Medicare supplement plan will pick that up and cover. Medicare, straight Medicare pays 80%. The supplemental plan covers the other 20%. You're only responsible for this year. The deductible for 2026 is $283, I believe, but don't quote me. Look it up on the internet for yourself. Supplemental plans are expensive, anywhere from $200, $300, $400, depending on what all kind of coverage you get. And what actual company you went with. You'd have to call your insurance broker and speak to them about this, and they can break down all the different types of plans and stuff that they have. Boy, I am definitely the lady. Remember in my previous video I said I caught myself saying a lot. I didn't realize that I do it. And let's not say it, Marla. It is weird. I'm just starting this YouTube thing, and you guys are not actually sitting here on the porch with me so that I'm talking to you face to face. You guys are out there behind this camera, and it is just weird to me. And I got something on my eyeballs on these glasses, and I can't see. So here we go. That's better. Anyway, I digress. So, yes, they're expensive, the supplemental plans. I myself, for me and my husband, I can't afford that. We only have our Medicare, Social Security checks to live on. Yes, my husband does have a small part-time job at the pawn shop here in town. That just helps cover the basics, gas, groceries, that. Everything else, no, we live on our Social Security checks. And so for us, we have a Medicare Advantage plan. Why? Because so far, It hasn't cost us anything out of our pockets. And the only payment that comes out for that plan is the insurance. This is the Medicare premium that Medicare, i.e. Social Security, takes out of our check, and we never even see it, but it pays for that plan. And even if you have straight Medicare A and B, you also have that premium taken out of your check. Well, apparently, as of today, I have 3 hummingbirds fighting over feeders. I haven't had a hummingbird here in a month or more. Okay. Anyway, they're just bzz. And so for us, I'm sorry, and the premium for this year is $202.90 as of January 1st. The Social Security office has already put out for 2027, the new premium is going up to $209.50. Joy, not, because we all know that by the time next month, or either in October, well, let's see, this is fixing to be August, so September, October, the government is going to do their thing, and they're going to come out and talk about what the inflation numbers are, and they're going to finagle and fib about what the actual numbers of inflation are, therefore making us senior citizens, the cost of living raise is not going to be high. If they were to actually, I believe I read this on the internet, but Google it yourself. If the cost of living raise currently at what they have it as, at whatever percentage, if they kept it that way, come January, we would actually get somewhere like a 3.7 or a 3.8 cost of living raise. That would be nice. That would be bigger than the one that we got a few years ago. I believe that was 2025 when we got that. Or no, it was 2024 when we got that so-called big one. What was it, 2.8? Anyway, that would be nice. But no, they're gonna finagle and fib about the numbers, and it's gonna make the cost of living adjustment go way lower. But it's not gonna matter because they're gonna up the premium like they do every year. Basically, it just eats into what they gave us. So anyway, for us, Ricky and I, we have a Medicare Advantage plan. The downside to a Medicare Advantage plan is they all need authorizations for every little teeny tiny major thing. If you need a CT scan, an MRI, some kind of a surgery or something like that, sorry about the lighting going in and out. I'm out on the porch here, as you can tell, and the sun is going in and out with the clouds, so the lighting keeps us like I'm sitting in a club in a strobe light's doing its thing. Anyway, I apologize if it looks weird on camera. They're going, that premium going up is going to basically eat into that cost of living raise. But that's not what I was talking about. The Medicare Advantage plans need authorizations for everything. Doctors' offices and hospitals absolutely hate them, especially your case management nurses who have to deal with all this stuff. If you're an inpatient or you're a 23-hour OBS or whatever, they have to deal with making sure that the diagnosis codes, the CPT codes are correct. And if somebody accidentally makes a mistake, puts the wrong thing, and they send it off to the insurance company to ask for an authorization, and they did not dot their I's, cross their T's, believe me, that Advantage Plan insurance company is going to be like, no, we're denying that, which is a delay of care for the patient. But insurance companies are all about making the money, that money, honey. That's what they're all about. So you, as a patient, if you do not feel comfortable calling the insurance company yourself, have someone in your family or an advocate that can help you navigate that, because you want your authorizations to be approved on a timely manner so that they don't delay your care. So what I'm saying basically is, if you can afford it, get a supplemental plan. If you can't afford it like me, look into your options of getting a Medicare Advantage plan. When I go to the doctor's office, I pay nothing. I do have a $3,400 a year out of pocket. I don't even think I ever even meet that because I haven't had anything done. My plan covers, labs, x-rays, mammograms, ultrasounds. Those types of things do not need authorizations. If my doctor wants me to have a CAT scan, an MRI, if I needed a nuclear med stress test for heart issues or whatever, those require an authorization. In case anybody didn't know, one second. Hairball, apparently. In case anyone didn't know, hospitals across the United States that are partnered with Medicare, they have rates that they have to go by, and they cannot charge more than what the Medicare rates are. Let's say if an ultrasound was $5 and that's all Medicare is going to pay, the hospital cannot charge you more than $5. They have to go by what the Medicare rates are. Now, for commercial plans, for commercial insurances, no, they contract with the actual insurance company. And I'm talking like Blue Cross, Blue Shield, Aetna, Cigna, United Healthcare. Each one of those hospitals has a contract with each separate insurance company. And like, say, my hospital, I live in a little small town and we have a rural hospital. I believe our beds are only 200, maybe 300 bed hospital. It's not a very big hospital. So our hospital had a contracted rate with like Blue Cross Blue Shield. So like and Blue Cross Blue Shield says, no, you can charge for an ultrasound $10, but if you're a Medicare patient, they can only charge you the $5, and that's it. They can't charge you any more than that. And if you don't have a supplement plan, and say all you have is straight Medicare A and B, which that's your red, white, and blue card, you're going to be responsible for 20% of that $5 cost because you don't have a supplement plan. But like, it's better like if you don't get sick a lot and you're pretty much healthy or whatever, and just a straight Medicare plan, that's cool for you. You go to the doctor or you go to the hospital to get labs drawn or whatever, you're still going to be responsible for everything's going to cost you 20% of whatever the cost was. But regardless, they can only charge you what the Medicare rates allow. For me, on my certain plan, when I go, like if I need a CAT scan, a CAT scan is only $150 for me, but it does require an authorization. That's the part, and that $150 goes toward my $3,400 out of pocket. Any of my medicines or anything so far that I'm on, because I'm on blood pressure. I mean, look at me in all my glory. I have heart issues. I'm a big old girl. And but so far my medicine, I'm on blood pressure medicine, heart medicine, and that's kind of it. The two, I have a generic Lasix also, and those three are what I'm on. But it doesn't cost me anything out of my pocket every year. The insurance pays for that. But an MRI costs $300. That's what my hospital charges out of pocket for me, for my insurance. But it does require an authorization. If I have to go into the hospital and stay in the hospital inpatient, it requires an authorization. And the doctor's offices, I mean, yes, the doctor's offices for when they're scheduling you, or for these outpatient radiology tests, they have to get an authorization prior to you going and having it. And they have to make sure this is something that you as the patient need to be diligent on. The diagnosis codes and the CPT codes have to match whatever it is that they're wanting to put you in the hospital for, or they're want you to go have a test. You can go out online and you can ask the internet, what is the CPT code for a CAT scan with and without contrast, and it will tell you what the CPT code is. You can also ask, what's the diagnosis code? You can't just say like general abdominal pain. I mean, I think there is one out there, but there's like 4 different areas of your stomach. Like one is RUQ, right upper quadrant, LUQ, left upper quadrant, LLQ, left lower quadrant, RLQ, right lower quadrant. Same thing. Elbow pain. Well, which one? Right or left? I don't know how that looks on the camera, but anyway, this is my right hand, this is my left hand. And when you get, like if your doctor's office, you went to the doctor's office because you're having a pain somewhere, and the doctor wants to do a radiology test, and they give you an order, they normally, like, I don't know too many doctors, but there were a few here in town that still hand wrote orders. But for the most part, they've all got digital readout things now. And so you're going to get a piece of paper. It's going to have your name, address, your insurance information, which has your ID and your group numbers. And remember, the hospitals are always going to ask you for that stuff. Up here might be the name of the doctor's office and their address and phone number. Down here, they're going to have what test it is they want. They want you to go have a CAT scan of the right upper quadrant of your stomach, of your abdomen, is what they call it. They don't say stomach. Well, that's got a certain CPT code for that test. Then it's got to have a diagnosis code, which is going to say RUQ pain, right upper quadrant pain. That also has a distinct diagnosis code. Google it, search it, make sure that it matches what that order says. Pick up the phone and call your insurance company. On the back of your cards, and I'm talking for Medicare Advantage plans, pick up your card and call the customer advocate line, ask to speak to the authorization department, and say, ask them, does this CPT code with this diagnosis code require an authorization? And that advocate is going to tell you yes or no. Most of the time it's yes. And what they are going to need from the doctor's office, you've got to turn around and call the doctor's office and say, and ask to speak to the authorization department and say, I need to know, have you guys sent off the clinical notes is what they call it. The insurance company needs the clinical notes. If they haven't done it, whatever. Hopefully everybody has a good rapport with their doctor's office. And I mean, there are overworked people in the doctor's offices. I personally never had an issue with calling my doctor's offices when I worked at the hospital, calling the authorization department and speaking to my kiddos that I all had all over town and saying, hey, I just needed to know, did you get this authorization for this patient? Their test is coming up, and have you faxed over the clinical notes? And that used to be the case, because we used to chase what we called auths all the time until we finally implemented the policy to help keep us from having to chase 24/7 here. It seemed like they had to get the auth prior to actually scheduling a patient. and that was for when I worked in the scheduling department. I started off at the hospital in the ER, admitting patients to the ER. Then I moved to the scheduling department, which was the radiology department, scheduling, mammograms, ultrasounds, CAT scans, MRIs, nuke med stress tests, those kinds of things. I forget what they call those breathing ones. You had to have a test he had to have that scheduled, but all of that stuff, certain insurance is required offs. Basically, what I'm trying to say is the best way to go, if you can afford it, is a Medicare supplement policy to your red, white, and blue Medicare card. If you cannot afford that extra money coming out of your pocket every month, then the other way is to get an Advantage plan. And I may or may not get comments from people in the industry that will fuss about the horrors of Advantage plans. I agree with them. They're a pain in the booyah-yaka. They are. But, it's just everybody has to cross their T's and dot their I's. For my overworked people, my doctors, my nurses at the hospital, exactly what it is. They're overworked. They get bombarded with clinical notes, and because it's not just you, that they've got 47 million patients on the floor that night or that day, and they've got to make sure that all of that stuff is documented correctly. Sometimes, this stuff starts running together. They're human. They make mistakes. And that's why it's a pain in their booty to have to get on the phone and try to chase these insurance companies down to get, the authorizations. And the same thing in the doctor's offices. I mean, they have the department in each doctor's office. There's an authorization department. Believe me, those girls know exactly what I'm talking about. And so, yeah, it's 100% better if you just have a patient that walked in with a supplemental plan to Medicare, and that automatically, you don't have to, go and get authorizations and all of that. So that's basically what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to impart knowledge that, basically you as the patient have to be the advocate for yourself. You have to take the responsibility. Don't just always leave it to the doctor's office or the hospital to figure out things. And if you do not feel comfortable talking to them about any of this, find someone in your family, find a very close friend who can help you out. Google everything. Believe me, the internet answers questions honestly now. I mean, everything. So I hope that I helped someone. I hope I didn't go off. I try to stay on the path, but I am bad about squirrel and go over here and then coming back, so y'all forgive me. And I hope I didn't say a whole lot. If I did, I apologize. Y'all just call me the lady. Anyway, God bless, and ta-ta for now. And leave comments, ask me questions, and I will do my best to answer as best I can. Thank y'all, and see you later.